Hi everyone, welcome to the video. Today's cryptos in focus will be privacy coins, or notably Monero, Zcash or Zcash and Dash. I'll give you my thoughts about them, some of the key features and a price analysis of two of them in particular. But before continuing and looking at the current prices relative to other cryptos, we have Monero at 17th or XMR, Dash at 32nd and Zcash 35th based on circulating market caps. Now before continuing, a quick summary of what is in store for today's video. I'll talk about privacy coins, what they are, their key features, some of the use cases, relevant news, two price analyses, and the future of privacy coins. I'll give you my input about what could happen in the coming years and how successful they could be or otherwise. Now this must be said, none of the information in this video is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This should all be for educational purposes only. Returning to this Medium blog page or piece by Shapeshift titled "What are privacy coins?" Just a quick overview of what these are. Privacy coins allow for full anonymity when transacting on a crypto's blockchain by masking the sender and receiver information for each of these different transactions. Depending on the cryptocurrency, there would be varying degrees of privacy. There are other factors at play which I'll cover throughout the video. It goes through some of the shortcomings of Bitcoin and the lack of privacy, know your client verification systems that occur across various exchanges around the world, and then there's more information about the various cryptocurrency or privacy focused projects at the moment. So this from Shapeshift through Medium. Blockonomy is another resource that I'll frequently use to seek information, especially when it comes to blockchain or cryptocurrency explanations and going into more technical details. So there is this piece from them, Privacy Coins, Beginner's Guide to Anonymous Cryptocurrencies. Further resources that I will include in the description. Moving on to some of the key features. Touching on Monero, which is the biggest privacy crypto or the best privacy enabled cryptocurrency based on circulating market cap. I've made a separate video dedicated to Monero, so I won't talk about it as much as the other two, but in the meantime, just to give you an understanding of how it works with the privacy features, using their description, a group of cryptographic signatures with at least one real participant, but no way to tell which in the group is the real one as they all appear valid. It's also ring confidential transactions or ring CT, a way to hide the amount sent in a Monero transaction, and something called stealth addresses. These are automatic one-time addresses for every transaction. Just something to mention whilst I'm at it. Now, some people would be skeptical of privacy coins in being able to achieve full anonymity whilst you're on the internet. Now, Monero recognizes these doubts, and on their website, they'll say here, or for those not looking at the screen, is Monero 100% anonymous? So just reading the answer they've provided. There is no such thing as 100% anonymous. If nothing else, your anonymity set is the set of people using Monero. Some people don't use Monero. Monero may also have bugs. Even if not, ways may exist to infer some information through Monero's privacy layers either now or later. Attacks only get better. If you wear a seatbelt, you can still die in a car crash. Use common sense, prudence, and defense in depth. Interesting seatbelt analogy, but I see where they're coming from. Moving on to Zcash, a privacy-protecting digital currency built on strong science. One of the key components behind the crypto project is in the form of these things called zk-SNARKs, a form of zero-knowledge proofs. And their explanation, just to give you a basic understanding, it allows one party, the prover, to prove to another, the verifier, that a statement is true, without revealing any information beyond the validity of the statement itself. To get a solid grasp of this, it is fairly abstract overall. I have previously made a video about Zcash or Zcash and Dash, which covers more of the science underpinning this. You're welcome to check that out. I'll also include links, as always, in the description. Because there's a lot to cover, I'm just trying to keep this brief. Another thing I recommend viewing, staying on the Zcash website, go to Get Started and check out the basics. It gives you a neat synopsis of the project and its corresponding crypto, and a good comparison between Bitcoin, Zcash, credit cards, and cash. This information will be useful, especially towards the end of the video when I talk about the future of privacy coins. The third and final crypto that I'll focus on in this video is Dash. I will acknowledge this has drawn a lot of skepticism in terms of whether this is a genuinely private or privacy focused crypto as opposed to the previous two, and you'll understand why as we go through the video. Out of the three cryptos I'm focusing on, I would say Dash is the most merchant friendly. So for those not looking at the screen, info about where to spend it and a merchant directory. But focusing on its apparent privacy features or its benefits, if we look at the private send information, so the technology that offers these features, it says here, how does private send work? Dash offers optional transaction anonymity through a feature called private send. An improvement of CoinJoin, private send allows you to break up your Dash into specific denominations and mix, in inverted commas, these with other participants, thereby obscuring the origin of funds used in the final transaction. Private send offers superior privacy to centralized mixing services because each round of mixing is facilitated by a different masternode, making it effectively impossible to track funds on the blockchain. I'm going to talk about why I'm a bit skeptical of Dash's privacy features in the news and partnerships section. So a self-explanatory reason why we want these privacy coins is because in a world where there is increasing surveillance and transactions are being monitored, or at least more easily monitored, and there's much more extensive surveillance of not just transactions but various things in our society, people understandably want to hold on to the freedoms that they have left. To avoid digressing, just jumping back to a comparison between different payment methods or currencies that could be used for purchasing goods. For those not looking at the screen, Bitcoin is efficient, it's attack and censorship resistant, auditable, which has its pros and cons, but it's not private. Credit cards, open to attack or censorship, they have limited privacy. And then cash, despite being inefficient and not very secure, especially if someone were to steal it from you, its key benefit is that it's private. So my point is that privacy coins will play a role in replacing cash as we continuously migrate to a cashless society, especially for those who want privacy features. Before covering the news, I just want to touch on some of the other key use cases associated with privacy coins. There is an excellent piece here from FX Empire, Privacy Coins Use Cases Away from Money Laundering Perception. I'm just going to identify a few key points, very good reading just to get a better understanding of all of this. You have personal security. If you want to mask the exact quantity, if you don't want to reveal how much you have in a particular crypto, privacy coins work very well. There could be privacy for business transactions, the personal liberties associated with using privacy coins, just like people want to pay with cash for various reasons. I'm not condoning criminal activity. There's also financial data protection that's listed here and many other reasons. Beyond this piece, there is also Ivan on Tech. As a quick side note, he has a very informative and entertaining YouTube channel, so I recommend checking that out as well. Privacy Coins 2020. What are privacy coins? A very good synopsis of this. Let's jump over some crypto news, well, news for privacy coins, starting with Dash launching on Coinbase Pro. Now, this was last year, but as Coinbase is a major exchange and to become mainstream, there are these know your customer or anti-money laundering requirements for several exchanges, especially those operating in major economies around the world. The reason why I was, or I still am, skeptical about the privacy features being upheld when transacting in Dash, if I scroll down the article, this point here, created in 2014, Dash is a cryptocurrency optimized for payments that has optional speed and privacy features, the optional part once again. At this time, Coinbase will not support these features. I doubt they would ever support the privacy features unless regulators permit them to do so under certain conditions. As I covered earlier with the global reach, over 4,000 merchants worldwide, this was based on September 2019 figures. How will the other two fare? I feel as though it will be an uphill battle for privacy coins, unfortunately, but I'm just telling it the way I'm seeing it. This is a piece from CoinDesk. Now, it's a couple of years old, but it's relevant nevertheless. Japan's ban is a wake-up call to defend privacy coins, and many other governments have been, I would say, antagonistic is probably the best word, towards these. Jumping over to the USA, the IRS is offering you $625,000 to crack Monero. The federal agency is inviting participants to try and break the Monero network's famed level of privacy. This was from a few weeks ago. This is courtesy of Decrypt. That's a huge sum of money. This just shows governments definitely see privacy-focused cryptos, especially Monero, I would say Zcash as well, as major threats. And there are others too. Couple more here, just identifying the headlines. Australian dodges prison after using a supercomputer at work to mine crypto. Just touching on this one, a former employee of the CSIRO, it's Australia's chief scientific organisation, or the one that's government-backed, just under $6,900 worth of Ethereum and Monero. So interesting story there. Dodger's prison, rightfully so. I'm just going to say, as a very quick side note, for those that are, I call them the anti-crypto crusaders, for lack of a better word, if anyone is that antagonistic towards crypto, just remind them, a lot of the illegal activities that well-established businesses and individuals are conducting every day. Many of these dodgy activities that have been occurring well before cryptocurrencies first set foot onto the scene. I will avoid ranting any further. Something positive to reflect on, despite this being an uphill battle. This piece from Crypto News Flash. Monero presents new legal framework in defense of privacy coins. Former Monero or XMR lead maintenance Ricardo Spagni, aka Fluffy Pony, has presented the result of more than a year's work, together with the law firm Perkins Coie, pardon my pronunciation, and developers from Tari Labs, the white paper Anti-Money Laundering Regulation of Privacy-Enabling Cryptocurrencies has been published. And if you're interested, this is the official document here. I'll include a link to this with everything else. Now the take-home message here. The white paper concludes that the use of Monero presents less risk to authorities than other payment methods. There'll be more information. I'm going to talk more about this later in the video, towards the end, about the future of privacy coins. I'll give you my input about this. As always, that is a lot to take in. Now let's jump over to ways to store and purchase your cryptos. So starting with the former, supported crypto hardware wallets. If you want to store your privacy coins safely offline, there are ledger wallets, notably the Nano S and X, one of the most extensive options based on number of users and supported crypto assets. We're going to start with Monero, XMR. Not yet supported on Ledger Live, but it has the GUI wallet through the Monero website. So it's one being endorsed by the organization. We have Zcash. One second. It is available through Ledger Live. For those who are new to the space or not familiar with Ledger wallets, it's essentially the wallet's in-house application. You can send and receive and even buy a few cryptos directly through the one app. Let's have a look. Dash is also available through Ledger Live. The next one on the list out of the hardware wallets I recommend is Trezor. If I look at the supported cryptos and tokens, Monero, the CLI or the GUI wallet I spoke about for Ledger is provided here. Do bear in mind, only available via the Trezor Model T, according to Trezor's website. Zcash is available via Trezor, Exodus, and Magnum on both the One and Model T. If we have a look at Dash, got 5 options there. So Trezor, DMT, Dash Electrum, Exodus, and Magnum for both models there. The other one that I've seen that provides a good amount of support for cryptos, but I haven't actually used this before. One of you recommended this. It's called EliPal, the supported list of cryptos or coins and tokens. If we search for Monero, not listed there. Zcash is supported through 3 different wallets, and we have Dash again supported on 3 different wallets through there. So only 2 of the 3 cryptos. Moving on to desktop wallets, we have the Atomic wallet, a very popular choice. If we look at all assets supported via the wallets, Monero not listed there. Dash is provided, and Zcash. There could be a pattern forming here, unfortunately. I could be wrong. The next one is Exodus, a very popular one. It has integration with Trezor hardware wallets, so that could be appealing if that's something you're after. Let's have a look. So Zcash is there. So Monero is supported. Dash also available. Alternatively, I recommend checking out the websites for the various privacy coins, other wallets that can support the native cryptos. Before talking about the price analysis, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, just jumping back to Coin Paprika, if I have a look at ways to purchase the different privacy coins, the way I check, if we go to Monero and we have a look at the different exchanges, reading what I'm seeing here, the top one is Creek EX, although there is an important announcement. It says, some Coin Paprika users report problems with this exchange. Be careful. I have never heard of this. The next one on the list is the one I would recommend using, Binance. OKEX is listed here. Jumping over to Zcash, 83 exchanges or markets. System Coin, Yobit, Binance, third on the list, Coinbene, and Huobi are the top 5. The last one we've got was Dash. Over 130 exchanges or markets. Let's have a look here. System Coin, Yobit, CatX, Pionex, and Binance. And I will reiterate, please Always check that the exchanges you're using are reputable, read user reviews, make sure you know where you're storing your money. It's the reason why I highly recommend getting a hardware wallet. You have full control over the crypto, private keys for the wallet, much safer option. Not financial advice, just my thoughts. Okay, now that's all been said, let's jump over to my price analyses. Starting with Zcash or Zcash, I'll just stick to the first one for this analysis. And then covering Dash. Okay, now what I've done, to give you a quick explanation, I've picked a circulating supply or a hypothetical one for the purposes of this price analysis. Somewhere between the circulating total supply, and whilst I'm at it, a quick recap of these figures. 10.131 million Zcash, maximum supply of 21 million units, which is identical to that of Bitcoin. Factoring in inflation, which according to Viewbase, a resource I use quite a bit, the annualized inflation rate is 25.67%. So that's massive, but you should factor in that as we approach the maximum supply, this rate will decrease. I forgot to mention as well, there will be further information about the project in its corresponding white paper. Anyhow, for simplicity and consistency, we'll just stick with this figure here, the 13 million. As a reminder, today's price, it is just over $57 per Zcash, the circulating market cap of roughly 577 million US dollars. Okay, let's begin. For my first target, we have $150 per Zcash, fairly conservative, should be very straightforward to achieve if the all-time high price is anything to go by, although do bear in mind, this occurred pretty much at its inception. If we were to go back, just to give you some perspective, returning to Coin Paprika or the information specifically about Zcash, if we scroll down, that enormous amount of money per coin, it's weird because here in numbers it says just below $6,000 per unit, and on the chart it cuts off at about $1,600. But anyhow, long story short, when the entire crypto market just went gangbusters back in December 2017, January 2018, the price of Zcash based on this got up to about $680 per coin, probably vary depending on where you look. So yeah, this should be very straightforward to achieve. I don't see any doubts in terms of why we wouldn't, even in the event if there were to be a major crackdown on these privacy coins by governments. I don't see why this wouldn't rise, just like the entire market a few years ago. To achieve this price at the above mentioned circulating supply, it would be $1.95 billion in the circulating market cap. I envisage we would reach this before the figure, although once again, the very high inflation rate, it could be this figure, the 13 million Zcash. You be the judge based on your own evaluation. The next price point here, $600 per Zcash. That would be a circulating market cap of $7.8 billion. Based on the graph we saw earlier, you shouldn't always rely on being able to re-hit these previous targets. Just because we reached this figure before, it's never guaranteed. But again, with the increasing interest in crypto, there is still quite a bit of support for privacy coins. I don't see that ever really disappearing. Some news I forgot to mention earlier in the videos and how this relates to the price analysis. This crypto news flash piece. For those not looking at the screen, it's titled Future of Zcash Resolved. Development Fund will be established. This will be starting in November 2020. The numerous parties involved in securing Zcash's future, at least from a funding perspective. There's more information in this piece, and again, for brevity, I won't read it, and I encourage you to read this information, some images, some relevant statistics as well. So why I'm saying this, there are people willing to invest in the project and support it, in addition to some Zcash community consensus, a certain amount of money from mining going into this new development fund, and having these shielded transactions and the technology with like the zk-SNARKs that I spoke about earlier, amongst other things as well. These privacy features, just as is the case with Monero and to a certain point Dash, these will remain relevant in the future. How plausible is this target? I think it should be pretty easy to achieve. The three cryptos I'm focusing on in this video are the three largest privacy coins or privacy-enabled cryptocurrencies based on circulating market cap. They've been around for several years and they're slowly building a more robust reputation. Yes, I will acknowledge there are still many people that, irrespective of what I have to say, they're very skeptical about the future of privacy coins. I'm going to talk more about it after the price analysis and to give you some more input in regards to that. But focusing on these price targets, so the next one I have is $2,000 per Zcash. Yes, that's a big jump. We have a very low maximum supply as opposed to several other crypto projects that have supplies in the billions, tens of billions, so on and so forth. Additionally, what is very enticing is Zcash, Dash, and even to a certain extent Monero. They have a very low circulating market cap. So if you want something to 20x or 10x to be more conservative, very straightforward as opposed to Bitcoin or Ethereum doing that in relative terms. Not saying they can't do it, but that's a different topic for discussion. At this price point with the above mentioned circulating supply, which assuming this will take a while to reach, the circulating supply could be somewhere more towards 15 or 16 million possibly. For most other cryptos, I talk about adoption and forming partnerships. The tricky thing is, because privacy coins, especially Monero, provoke the ire of so many governments and regulators and everyone else involved in the process, I'm not sure exactly how many legitimate companies would be willing to partner with them, at least openly, which is unfortunate because, as I touched on earlier in the video, there are so many legitimate use cases for privacy coins, for law-abiding citizens, and of course, yes, there'll always be demand for this for the dark web and otherwise. Personally, just my opinion, $26 billion is a lot of money, but compared to the tens of trillions, if not over $100 trillion in value, I don't have exact figures on me, but you'd imagine that over time, these amounts will increase. These are still relatively low amounts. Even if you were to combine all of the major privacy coins, you're still dealing with a small portion of the entire crypto space. But once again, as we get to these more ambitious price targets, I say to people, you should always proceed with caution. If we were to reach these more ambitious price targets, it is very difficult to ascertain if we could even get to somewhere even near this, at least now. Who knows what could happen in terms of government regulations, competitors to these privacy coins. I'll talk more about it as part of the future of privacy coins, or my take on all of that just after this analysis. The last target here of $4,000, reflecting a lot of what I just said for the $2,000 figure, a lot of uncertainty. Well, actually, before I continue, for this $52 billion circulating market cap, how will the other privacy coins go? Could there be, at some point in the future, could they have much better technology, at least for privacy features, or much faster transactions? Could there be more attractive mining rewards or staking rewards if any of these adopted that as opposed to mining? Just saying, again, all hypothetical. You need to look at the transaction times, the usage, Dash, which I'll cover shortly. Plenty of merchants around the world accepting that. But could that take some of the market share from Zcash, Monero potentially, other competitors, because there are other privacy coins? Who knows? There's one more thing in relation to Zcash. The science underpinning zero-knowledge proofs, or the information in relation to zk-SNARKs, there are lots of scientific journal articles about zero-knowledge proofs dating back to the early 80s. Why this could be relevant, this extensive knowledge or the historical information we have could help improve the technology even more in relation to cryptography. The fact there's solid science, there's robust science behind it, it definitely adds to the credibility of the project. Just my thoughts. Without digressing, let's jump over to Dash. I will acknowledge, because there are similar circulating total and maximum supplies, strictly speaking, Dash is at 18.9 million units, or as a maximum supply, as opposed to Zcash's 21 million coins. To avoid repeating myself, I'm just going to point out some information specific to Dash that could help drive its adoption and increase the prices to those that are listed here. We saw that website, or the two websites before, covering like the merchants or having the merchants directory. As it's fairly well established, and Dash has been around, I think, since 2014, being utilized quite a bit in those countries that are experiencing a lot of hyperinflation, and then I'm sure several individuals in other countries also using this. If there are thousands of merchants that are accepting it and they're receiving significant amounts frequently every week or month and having a lot of success with the crypto, then it could encourage other merchants to join. It will be interesting to see how the merchant network expands, or could it potentially contract if people decide otherwise or governments clamp down on the use of Dash. I'm not sure. You need to consider the alternate perspective, more pessimistic scenario as well. Actually, something I forgot to mention earlier is How likely will the crypto or any of these privacy coins plummet in value towards $0? Just end up being a massive flop and they will just fade into the darkness. This is hard to predict. I always throw this in just to play devil's advocate. As always, not financial advice. Geez, there's definitely an element of complexity to this because governments make some very rash decisions, and regulators could be a bit heavy-handed with its usage, distribution, all of that. Nevertheless, I believe there would still be enough demand for Dash. If many people are using it and they're happy with it, I don't see why they would stop, unless if another crypto comes along that is superior to Dash or considerably better. Before I talk about the future of privacy coins, or just my perspective on it, and touching on some articles as well, just before talking about the future of privacy coins, I'm just going to gloss over this alternate price analysis, or another way to look at the value of these relative to another crypto. For this, I've chosen Bitcoin. One of you suggested that I look at the cryptocurrency in focus and how this could be denominated in value. For consistency, I just use Bitcoin, which is still the largest by a significant margin based on circulating market cap. So in a nutshell, if you look at the values of these, or if you were to purchase X amount of Zcash, it could be Dash and Monero, you can easily translate these figures. Again, still US dollars, but nevertheless, the current values now, based on the Zcash and Bitcoin prices, you would get X amount in Bitcoin at the moment, and hypothetically assuming the price were to hit $40,000 per Bitcoin. Alternatively, $100,000 per Bitcoin. So what would be the BTC value in this? This could be adjusted with different figures and various cryptocurrencies out there. There's a lot of information to take in, but it's just to give you a different point of view. Before doing a review of the crypto prices across the market, just covering some thoughts about the future of privacy coins, predominantly my opinions, but just covering some news articles in relation to this matter. There is this piece from Crypto News Flash. It's from John McAfee, who is a bit of a maverick and has some interesting ideas, especially with certain price predictions. For McAfee, privacy coins like Monero, Zcash, Dash will soon be banned. This was back in April 2020. A couple of take-home messages for this. It indicates a ban would be very difficult to apply or enforce around the globe, especially with different jurisdictions and even within certain countries like the USA or the states having their individual laws. There have been parallels made between, say, marijuana regulation and ways governments could affect privacy coins without necessarily banning them. As an example, but specifically in regards to privacy coins, some other useful points in this article, but specifically about privacy coins and the future they face, or just my thoughts and criticisms about it. I feel as though that governments will have some success in trying to stifle the proliferation of these coins or in their usage. This topic will become increasingly relevant as people migrate to a more cashless society. Even with this current global pandemic, many places are refusing to accept cash despite being legal tender. It's causing problems for those who aren't as tech savvy or simply want the privacy associated with banknotes. Until privacy coins have been integrated into various payment platforms, or it just becomes a lot easier to use these, I don't see cash disappearing anytime soon. Now, without digressing and elaborating on cash, I plan to write a Medium article in relation to this, so stay tuned about that. Beyond the threat of governments and regulators being very heavy-handed against privacy coins, another threat to consider, or at least a threat to the 3 established privacy coins that I've been talking about throughout this video, is something called Mimblewimble. And it relates to, you could say, a corresponding crypto, Grin, which is relatively unknown. So it says, Grin is a privacy-preserving digital currency built openly by developers distributed around all over the world. Now, Mimblewimble, the protocol, leverages cryptography to allow past transaction data to be removed with no compromise on security. This is relevant because Litecoin, they've been contemplating the implementation of Mimblewimble on their respective blockchains. Having these privacy features, well, not just privacy, but improved scalability. So there's this article, for those not looking at the screen, Crypto Slate. A new Litecoin update shows Mimblewimble is on track. There is a monthly update through the Litecoin blog or its news section on its website. Litecoin Mimblewimble August update, the September one coming very shortly. Alongside this, I came across this piece from Bitcoin.com, Privacy Options Underutilized in Cryptocurrency Usage Report. This is, again, earlier this month. I'm mindful of giving you some of the latest articles for relevance. This talks about CoinJoin as well. Another privacy feature could be used with Bitcoin. And once again, another potential threat to XMR, Zcash, or Dash. I doubt governments will show much mercy to privacy coins unless if enough people take a stand and say, no, we want them. But at the very least, I would rather have, and this applies to so many different things in society, some limited usage of privacy coins on a wide scale rather than a ban. Again, just my thoughts. Is it not possible to have at least transactions to a certain value that you could pay with privacy coins? If you want to provide a more enticing alternative to cash, something that's a lot more efficient that you can use online, then have privacy coins for small transactions at the very least. Now, to finish this whole discourse about privacy coins, this article from Crypto Insider, Government Regulation and the Future of Privacy Coins, and this last piece, Mentor Market, the Future of Privacy Coins. To give you a clear and concise response or input about the future of privacy coins, do I think they have a future? Yes, and I believe many others share that sentiment. How extensive will privacy coins be in future? No one knows because the space is so dynamic. Could Bitcoin and Litecoin implement widespread privacy features that will be very easy to use and help scalability, like Mimble, Wimble, or otherwise? Most likely. Can governments effectively ban privacy coins? To a certain point, possibly, but again, time will tell. That's all I have to say. I know there's a lot of information to take in, so thank you for tuning in for this far. If you've listened, to wrap up the video, a very quick summary of the crypto prices courtesy of Coin Paprika. After refreshing the page, let's have a look at the biggest winners and losers over the past 7 days, focusing on the top 100 cryptos based on circulating market cap. The Midas Touch, Storj, however that's pronounced, Storj. I know nothing about these. They are 74 and 56% up respectively over the past 7 days. Theta, 40% gains for the week. Cosmos, 31% up. There's Elrond up 28%. Hedge Trade, 28%. Amize Go, picking up once again, 26% gains for the week. Swipe, Zilliqa, Sia Coin, and Cardano up between 20 and 24%. Binance Coin, up 19.6%. Pretty much gains over the past 7 days, which is a very good sign. Actually, almost all of the cryptos are up, bar having a look at the biggest losers for the week. Small losses relative to the gains. We have Avalanche, Digibyte, UMA with double-digit losses. Loopring, DX Chain, and Quant losses between 7 and 9%. We have, Yearn Finance is down for the week, although it's had an incredibly good run over the past few months. One of these DeFi cryptos that have just created enormous amounts of hype this year. Neo below $20 again. My last video was about the project, so feel free to check out the Neo video if you're interested. You can get the major cryptos, some of the big cryptos. Bitcoin, $10,780 per BTC. Ethereum, $356 per Ether. XRP, 24 cents. Binance Coin, we covered. Chainlink, just below $10 once again. Polkadot, still up in the top 10. Cardano, just below 10 cents. And for your reference, the time of recording this, the time and date of recording this, it is Wednesday, the 30th of September, 2020 at 3:40 a.m. UTC. That is a wrap for the video. So what are your thoughts about Zcash, or Zcash, Monero, and Dash? Amongst the other cryptocurrencies, or just privacy coins in general, where do you see the space in the coming years? What could happen down the track? What are your thoughts? I look forward to your feedback in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, click subscribe and smash the bell icon if you want to stay up to date with my latest videos. I hope you're all having a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, and that you're staying safe despite these uncertain times. More videos coming soon, plenty of other content available through my channel. That's a wrap. Thanks again. Talk to you soon, and take it easy. See ya.